Hello everybody and welcome to the Lost Wisdom of the Grail Telesummit. I am delighted to welcome you to the next few weeks of, fascinating and interesting talks. I've had such fun doing this. Now my first guest is somebody that I met just over 10 years ago. He's the National Director of Human Design UK and Human Design Films, and his name is Richard Beaumont. Now, Richard spent much of his youth exploring both Eastern and Western self-development techniques. And in 1987, he founded Kindred Spirit, a leading UK mind-body spirit magazine. When he was introduced to human design, he began to dedicate himself to studying the system. He sold his magazine, trained with the founder of Human Design, Ra Uru, and hasn't looked back since. Richard, welcome.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you.
Now, I've got to just tell people, the first time I met Richard, he did a reading for me. I saw him do a talk and thought, I've got to have one of those. And we met up the next morning and he did a reading from me. And this is the first thing he said to me. You are a pure freak. So the first thing to understand is that your life is not about fitting in with anybody else. It is about your difference. Now, when I say that to other people, they are horrified. He didn't say that to you, did he? And all I can remember thinking at the time was, oh, at last, thank you. Somebody sees me. Mm-hmm. It was one of those defining moments of my life that actually you allowed me to be different. Yeah, it was wonderful. So on that note, Richard, I know you've got a presentation prepared for us. Do you want to start into that and explain a bit about human design, and then we'll go on and chat later on?
Absolutely. I'm attempting to share the screen now.
Technology is wonderful when we make it work.
Yep. And hopefully you're seeing something now.
I am. Beautiful.
Okay, good. So what I want to just introduce human design. I mean, as Sarah said, when I spent 20 years in a Mind, Body, Spirit magazine, I saw so many different things. And when human design came my way, again, it was another article for the magazine. In fact, a two-part article.
In fact, I actually remember that article.
It was... Yeah. We got the ball going, but it wasn't really till I met Ra, the founder of Human Design, that I'd never heard anyone speak so truthfully. And, what he said really penetrated into me in the sense that this was truth. I was hearing it and I just wanted to know more. And in fact, it was so accurate and it just blew me away. So from then on, I stayed with human design and I kept on with human design, and it's been 20 years now since then.
Because that's the scary thing. This complete stranger knows you intimately. That's the beauty of it. Somebody tells you who you are in a way that you utterly recognize.
Absolutely. It's that in that recognition, things begin to drop, things begin to come into place, and you go, so that's why, at last we begin to have some framework that really is true. And from there, life continues to be a mystery, very much so, even more so. It's not like all the answers are there, you framework. And as I'm going to explain, I'll give you an idea of what it's about. And then if there are any questions, I'm open to anything. So here in the Lost Wisdom of the Grail, I've put in the mystical aspects of human design. There is a mystical pathway within it. And the journey of the Grail in that sense in human design is to move into finding out who you are. This is through the beginning of the mystical path, the yearning to be part of something more, the yearning to touch something outside of ourselves. And then moving into who we are, the initiation into who we are, and from that to be able to speak our unique truth. So that's just a little run. The system is really based around this wheel. I love wheels in knowledge systems, and I'm not going to go into it all with you, but we have here a mixture of the I Ching in these hexagrams on the outside. Each hexagram has a number, there's an astrological correspondence, and then we have our 9 centers and all these different channels of life force that connect them. The key is really to know oneself. I mean, this is the whole point. Who are we? Who actually are we? Can we know who we are in a way that we recognize it and it never changes? So it's coming through all the conditioning and all the things that we're told to actually find out who you are.
That's a really important word, isn't it? Conditioning, because we are deeply conditioned and don't even recognize it a lot of the time.
Exactly. So what we get is a lot of conversations that are very samey, everyone quoting from familiar things, but to speak our own truth, to actually know it and recognize it and let it come out. This is the endless beauty of this system.
Yeah.
So, you know, when we think about who we are, you know, we think, well, who am I? You know, are you a neighbor? Are you a mother? Are you a lover? You know, what are you? And we have different ideas about who we are depending on what we do, who we are in relationship to other people, where we come from, etc. And what people tell us, you know, what we experience and what people tell us, and that's it. So when you think about it, most people have a very fuzzy idea about who they are. They can be, you know, really fixed on thinking they're like this because that always happened. Yeah. But it could be an amplified side of something that isn't them, that they're actually playing like a fantasy, like a role. So in the end, we get lots of different ideas of who we are, and it's like this wall, you know. It's all the bricks are higgledy-piggledy and the cement all over the place, and there are gaps where we didn't know we were going to be like that, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of badly hanging together.
Badly hanging together, and the older you get, the more, you know, things don't really work, and you think, well,
yeah.
I don't know what's going on anymore. Or you get concretized into very limited form of potential. So what is it? Human design is a synthesis of 2 streams, basically. We've got science, we've got genetics, we've got all kinds of amino acid and biological correspondence, but we've also got this link to ancient wisdom, including astrology, the I Ching, the Hindu Brahman chakra system, the Zohar, the Kabbalah. You know, there's lots of different ancient and modern sciences in a synthesis together that fit absolutely perfectly.
It's wonderful weaving, isn't it, together?
It is weaving, and I think it's an ancient weaving. You know, it's in everything. So especially it's the I Ching correlation to genetics. You know, our DNA can be interpreted as experiential pathways that you can verify, just as you recognize when I called you a freak. I mean, I was a bit cheeky, but you know,
yeah,
you were up for it, and
it was what I needed to hear.
Yes, there's a lot of humor in human design. There's a lot of humor in life, but the thing is, you're never going to fit in, and you know it, and it's in the chart to see that.
Yeah,
and what's in the chart is that you're here to live a unique, completely unique life that is going to be, you know, you're an outsider in that sense, and that's seen in the chart.
I wish somebody had told me that at 5 years old.
What a relief.
I wouldn't have been 20 years trying to fit in.
Hopeless, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to show you a quick glimpse of the hexagrams because they are utterly wonderful and they're all different. And this is really the basic yin and yang, the duality that's in the universe. And there's this incredible correspondence. There's many books written on the I Ching and the way that it fits with the codons. I'm not going to go into it now, but it's a perfect match.
Yeah, and that in itself is stunning, isn't it?
It's stunning and verifiable.
Yeah.
I had someone the other day, 2 days ago, contact me and they said they had a high glutamate chemical in the body, and it was causing various problems. And I looked at the chart, found the correspondence. It's in their personality son. It's a major part of who they are. And they're going, well, there you go.
Yeah.
You can check things out with human design.
Yeah.
You know, what's true fits in it.
Mm.
But the main thing is there's a code that differentiates every person from everyone else. There really is.
Mm.
For every person out there, there is a unique design. Even twins. I'm a twin. I have a twin sister. And if you look at our charts, there's differences. And if you look underneath the chart, there's another pattern. Very different. There's all kinds of, you know, we're half an hour. We're born half an hour apart. I was once faced in a live session. A father came along. He said, I want you to look at my boys. And they were both young. And I looked at their charts and they were reflectors. In other words, they had no fixed life force in them.
Mm.
They were born just 3 minutes apart. And yet, if I go down to the base level in human design, there were differences.
Yeah. Mm.
The main difference is there's 4 types of human being, just as there are 4 blood types. So the main difference is, you know, you're either a manifester, a generator or manifesting generator, projector or reflector. Those 4 basic types, and the auras are different. Manifestors have a closed and repelling aura. You know, if you know a manifestor, and you can do free charts on my site, find out who everyone is. And if you find a manifestor, you will notice, or if you are one, you'll notice that you can get very close. You can just move in behind someone and they don't know you're there. The aura is closed and repelling, and they look round and suddenly you're there. What? You know, they can't feel you. It's one of the reasons why manifestors often feel pretty alone, because they see the majority of us are generators. We have an open, enveloping aura.
Mm.
And, you know, we take in a lot of information, we put out a lot of information, but it's engulfing.
Mm.
The projector down here is a focused, absorbing, and penetrating aura. So if you're a projector, you're very much more interested in who the other is. You know, focused in on the other. There is a natural guide for the other because of the aura.
Now, I see the projector as being like almost the lady with the lamp, a good one.
A good
really
one.
Help to show light your way, can't they?
They really can. They're tuning into your energy, and they can take in the life force and feel where it's stagnant, feel where it doesn't line up. You know, good projectors, everyone needs a good projector in their life, a few of them. And then we have these reflectors that have a non-stick kind of aura. They're not designed to, there's only about 1% of the population, 1.4% of the population are reflectors, and they're not designed to hold on to anything. Completely open chart. So that's another story. I'm not going to go into them, but just to say there are 4 types, the auras are different, and this makes this understanding of what type you are is fundamental. From that comes a unique strategy and authority each one of us have to be able to make decisions correctly, which enables you to live a life with much less resistance, because you know what your authority is.
It's funny how life just starts to flow much better, and you feel much more authentic, don't you?
You know, for you and I, a strong sacral response it's everything. It's very, very, very clear. Any decisions made on that, they're right for you. Whatever happens, they're right for you, and you can see the consequences. Again, this is an experiment. This is something you can test out, and if you test it, you'll see it works.
Yes.
Part of the system is there's 9 centers, so you have these 9 triangles and squares. They each mean something. Some of them are energy systems, some of them are about identity, some of them are about awareness, some of them are about the mental configuration. Every single person, you know, Eckhart Tolle, I've just used as an example here, every single person, as I said, has a different chart, but they speak from that chart. So you have Eckhart Tolle speaking about it's all about the now. And I met him through Kindred Spirit. I actually gave him his first award on the Kindred Spirit Awards for the best spiritual book of the year. He was going to go on to become so famous, but very individual, able to get his message out to others, but you know, it's one thing to speak from who you are. It's something else to say this is the way it is for everyone.
Yeah.
And he isn't he doesn't generate his own emotions. Half of us are generate emotions, half of us receive them and amplify them. He doesn't generate them. And so he can talk about being in the now and it can be correct for him. But half of the population who are emotional, they need time to process how they feel, and making decisions in the now is completely incorrect for them.
Yeah.
So that's just an example. If we look at Osho, I mention him because there's a new program on Netflix called Wild Wild Country about him and the SETI in Rajneeshpuram in Oregon. He was, you know, again, a very different type. He's a projector. And, you know, if you can split, this is an example of another way of looking at the chart. And you can split it into unconscious, what's in red, and conscious, what's in black. So he has a mystical consciousness, which is part of a mystical channel of initiation, here to initiate people. But what he doesn't know, what's unconscious, is this very logical mind, mind. He's a philosopher, fits perfectly, all about undermining someone else's arguments through logic. I mean, made to be a philosopher.
Yeah.
And at the same time, very ambitious. You know, as a projector, one of the downsides of being a projector, until you know about human design, can be the fact that you don't know when enough is enough. And, you know, 93 Rolls Royces, I mean, come on.
Yes.
You know, 10 would have been, yeah, you know, well done. You know, 90, I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't know when enough was enough. And these centers are connected with sexuality, particularly the sacral and the solar plex. You know, he was exploring sexuality and life force as part of his teachings. The gurus will teach them who they are.
Oh.
They will say this is the way it is. It doesn't mean it is the way it is for you. You know,
Mm.
all different. This is the whole.
That's a really profound truth for people to just hang on to. Just because it is right for someone else doesn't mean it's right for you.
Well,
Yeah.
and people don't really understand that there is an authority they've got. They can have their own unique life. That human design is here to free people. It's not here to tell you who you are and put you in little boxes. It's here to say, look, this is the way it is. Test it out.
Yeah.
You know you're going to find it's correct, but you test it out.
Yeah.
Tested it out and found it to be true, then you're free. You're free
Yeah.
to make your own decisions. You know what to rely on. The other side of it is that not only are we whatever's colored in the chart, is a more modern version of the design, but also we have these open centers. And so we receive what we have white in the chart, we receive from others through the auric contact of others. And the aura is about, it's about 7.5 foot across, and so is other people. So within 15 feet of someone, you're being affected by them and you are affecting them.
Yeah.
What you've got will go out into them.
It's remembering that as well. It's not just them, you. It's a two-way street.
It's a two-way street, it is, and there are things you can do to strengthen the aura. And once you've got an aura that is highly differentiated, you know, your own aura, your own familiarity with your own electromagnetic space, then you can know where you end and where the other begins, and everything becomes much clearer.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, here's an example, a blue aura, and I'm not that they're colored, but a blue aura and a yellow aura. Two very different auras, but it's like two drops in a glass, you know, a drop of blue and a drop of yellow, they end up mixing, and slowly they become green, you know, they're not. You're no longer you're in connection with someone else, and there's a mixture.
It's what I felt during my marriage. I felt there was my husband, myself, and then there was us. And I saw that as being very different to the two parts, as it were.
Very different. Here's an example. We've got Catherine Zeta-Jones on this side, who's a very powerful, emotional, manifesting generator. So very powerful, the most powerful of all types of manifesting generators. because they have access to manifesting energy at all times, and they've got a vitality that can keep on going. Marrying Michael Douglas, who's a projector, so very different type, very different aura, and you know, the two of them come together and they look like this in a way that all the centers become fixed. Very strongly attractive connection. There are 6 electromagnetics. There is strong sexual energy. There's strong interest. You know, it must have been lovely, and yet, you know, there is this center still open, which is, you know, that can be a positive thing in partnership analysis. But the main thing is when they come together, it's different, and you can see it in the chart. Human design is very visual, so you can see. You know, we don't want to. Whenever I do a reading, I include the person by showing them the chart so that they can take part in it. So they see it. It's very visual. We're not here to hold on to secret knowledge and say, you know, we know and you don't know. We're saying, look, this is what you understand, you know. Remember this, because you'll find it in your life. This is you, for example.
Absolutely.
So, you know, we
fine chart.
A fine chart, yeah. Yes, you know, you're here as a very strong generator. You know, you're here to struggle for purpose in life. You have got a critical awareness that can really see where things go wrong. You can find, you know, things wrong in any pattern. You'd be good at proofreading, for example. You've got this perfected form channel, which is all about the necessity to have beauty around you. And to behave according to who you are, according to your awareness in any moment. So very intuitive, very good at tuning into how to behave in a way that's you, even if other people don't want you to do that. You know, it must be such a relief when I said that to you.
Absolutely.
And fixed on finding, you know, exploring, you know, what you want to do with your life and how to behave and what work you want to do, this channel of exploration here. But also, interestingly, the 3457, very mammalian chart, like the animal within, very quick reactions you have. But it's also, not with everyone, but a lot of people, I find it ties into a love of animals, especially dogs. How many dogs do you have, Sarah?
4.
And, you know, so you know, we will, if we express ourselves as we are, then we get to live the life that we can live. When we look at the open centers and where we're here to learn, where we go to school in this life, we can see that Sarah's here to learn about how to attract attention. The throat is where we attract attention, how we express, and how to attract attention to the things that have been forgotten in the 33, the revelations that people need to remember again. And especially the kind of the mythical side, the stories that are healing in hearing them in the 56, which is also very entertaining. So, you know, here to attract attention to the revelations of the past, to tell the stories so that we can remember what we've forgotten. And as a personality son, to provide the logical solutions to restructure things in a way that can help everybody. You know, to bring tension and provocation and teasing to people, to kind of say, well, you know, try this, you know, have a look.
Let's look at it a different way. Yes.
A different way. So this is just part of the pattern. Just had a brief overview there. You wanted me to have a quick look at Donald Trump as an example. Well, Trump. I thought
it might entertain a few people.
Yes, well, he's in the press, I think, every day, isn't he?
Yeah.
So Donald Trump, you know, lives in a very grand way. You know, he can be very, you know, grumpy. Look at that expression, eh?
Yeah.
I love that. You know, very, very much into money, very much into them and us. Very much into, look, I'm not going to deal with you press guys anymore. It's all fake news. And wearing his caption, "Make America Great Again." Well, let's see who Donald Trump is, shall we?
Yeah. He can't hide from human design.
No, if we see Trump, this is a channel of money, the 2145. He's here to be a materialist in that sense. He's here, to be willfully making money and putting out a kind of his own version of the truth. But it's also something to see that this 45 he has here is also about the king. It's a king game. Here we have a king, Trump Towers, the king of whatever, trying to be the president. The president is, a good president or a good prime minister, a good political leader is a 731.
Yeah.
If you look at the South Korean president, South Korea have a president now that is an alpha that has this channel, and everyone loves him. He's good. He's good at what he does.
Yeah.
But Trump will be about them and us and make America great again. And he hasn't got a fixed identity. So he's going to, what do you do when you've got so much money? What do you do when you've got so much money? You've got everything you could possibly want. What he really wants is he wants to know who he is. He wants to be someone. Well, he's now the president of the United States. So, he wants to be America, basically. Yeah. And he's got a logical mind that can, like Osho had, that can enjoy undermining other people's arguments. With some fairly wacky things can go on there, but it's basically argumentative, material, but also wanting to, he does want to help the people. He does. He wants America to be great. He wants the people to prosper. He has this fixed will with a material energy in it. If the king educates people to be able to improve their lives, rather than give them fish, teach them how to fish, they can do better. But when they do better, then the king can just hire the taxes.
Yes.
Bring the taxes up. Oh, now you're doing well. You need to pay the government more money. It's a circle.
Yeah, yeah.
But he also has this strong, another tribal aspect of him, channel of mating. He can be, very chummy. He's got this gives him a life force that can penetrate into any aura. And people can end up saying things, telling me things that they wouldn't normally tell people because of this feeling of intimacy that he brings. You can see the way he's very hands-on when he's dealing with people. Here we have the channel of transitoriness. This is highly emotional. Highly, he can get angry very quickly, and he doesn't even know where the emotions come from. Everything's in red. But it's also the channel of transitoriness, so he'll enjoy traveling. He'll enjoy trying to bring people into progress. But it's got crisis in it. Same thing that George Bush had, George Bush Jr. So he will, bring crisis, as well at the same time. And in a hurry to do so, too much in a hurry to do so, not having a particularly strong physical system. The amount of junk food he eats, I can't imagine how he's coping, but because this is someone who's actually quite sensitive, eat in a pretty healthy way.
Yeah.
And then being inspired by all kinds of things, having a fixed way of thinking. So and he's a 1-3. He's going to learn by trial and error.
Yeah. I'm not sure that's someone you want as president of the United States.
No.
Trial and error.
we've had him in England as well. And so, he'll be deep in knowing what he knows, especially about business and deal making and all the rest of it. But,
there's a sense from everything you're saying there that by taking on the presidency, he's really stepped outside himself somewhat.
Very good. Yes, he has. Absolutely.
There's a discomfort with who he doesn't like this role. Can I try something different?
That's right. And you can see from the look on his face on that last photograph.
Oh, what have I done?
He must be thinking, oh my God, I've won. Oh shit, what am I going to do now? I don't think he expected to win, but, so he's got to deal with it. And he's got to be in, the personality's sun is in the line of the monk. He wants to be away from everyone.
Yeah.
Away sometimes, completely alone. And there he is in the public eye all the time. Doing tweets without waiting to let his emotions flow. So his tweets can be very inappropriate.
Yeah.
Impact people with this kind of trying to be spontaneous and ending up causing all kinds of things. he would rather he didn't. So patience, Donald, is what I would say. And so that's just a very quick overview.
Yeah, brilliant.
I also wanted to say there's many different types of looking at the chart. This is the one we're familiar with, the underlying chart with magic squares and all kinds of mysteries. It's a real science. This is how to get it across. And people say, is it like astrology? Well, it's very complicated. Astrology is a small part of it, but it's a synthesis, and underneath that, so many things. This is, for example, down here on the bottom left is my chart when I'm asleep. I have a different chart. I'm a projector when I sleep for various reasons, but there's lots of different ways. There are the ways of looking at the science in terms of amino acids. There's different life forms. We've got here the form for insects and mammals and single cells, birds, reptiles. There's all kinds of different aspects to it. There's different things to know.
It kind of runs through creation.
It runs through.
It's not just humans who have a chart.
No, it's not just humans. Everything has a chart within that within certain matrix. It's like, we have a body, and we've got hands and fingers, and the physical side finishes there. But I mean, there is a pattern. It's a pattern, and it's a science. There's a different pattern when people come together in families, for example. And certain things can be missing, which means it becomes the issue of the family, and they don't know why. All these things can be known. It's fascinating. It's practical. There's a whole lot. Here's another example of rave biology and all the different aspects. Aspects as gates to do with blood, gates to do with hunger, gates to do with discrimination in food, all kinds of. That part of it fascinates me. It really fascinates. Yes, you would enjoy that. I'll be doing something on that fairly soon. And just to say, to make it easy, because I know that people say, oh well, great, but Richard, you've been at it for 20 years.
Yeah.
I haven't spent 20 years studying something like that, so you don't have to. I've created a downloadable report at an incredibly reasonable price. The link is up here, and there's at least 120 pages in each one for the advanced report, and this is a table of contents. So you'll get to know, I'll describe in everyday English, well, a little bit poetic English too, what the components are, what your strategy and authority is, what type you are, the aspects you've got precisely in the way that they are lived out. No one's ever tried that before. So I won't go into the techniques, but basically it's really very, very accurate, and you should recognize yourself in everything that I say in that. There is this opportunity for people, if they want to find out. And otherwise you just, here's a quick lecture I was doing. Otherwise you can live from birth to do old age, always, waiting or trying to get somewhere, or trying to find yourself and not find it because you don't have the map. There is a map. It can be known. And
that's the beauty of it. There is a map.
There is a map.
And if only they gave you this at school, if only they actually, when every child was born, this was done for them, and their parents, received an understanding of who this child would be, so they could bring that child up to nurture its uniqueness, rather than what happens is it just gets suppressed as everything about the way we run our society tries to put you into this pigeonhole, doesn't it?
It does, and that's something we care very much about. The children, and making sure the children are brought up as they are, because then they grow up without being conditioned.
And there's a deep wounding, isn't there? There's a deep wounding in the conditioning. It
creates a lot of trouble. So this is something that I'm very keen on. At any human design professional is going to really help the mothers to understand their children, so the children can be themselves, and it changes everything. I do a lot of work with mothers calling me in to deal with problem children or whatever, because they don't understand them, and a few keys and everything
Yeah.
They can-
Tell them a little bit about a manifester, a manifesting child. How, because I mean, I always remember you telling me about that, and it's kind of like, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, a manifester, manifestors are the only type, especially intuitive manifestors, who can basically, as soon as they're old enough, they're designed to initiate things. You know, they don't want anyone to get in their way. That's the thing about a manifestor. They don't want to be controlled. They are pretty uncontrollable. Especially if they're emotional, they're designed to be uncontrollable. And as soon as they're high enough, when they're small, as soon as they're high enough to open the door and walk through it, they will. Tell anyone, they'll just do it. And, you know, they wander through the house and out into the garden, and you know, they're only little children. They get through the gate and they're sitting having an apple in the neighbor's garden, and the parents come back and there's no child. They, what the hell happened to my child? And so all this stuff happens because, you know, the manifestors really need at that age to ask permission, because otherwise they will just do things.
They will piss everyone off because no one knows where they are or what they're doing.
No one knows where they are, what they're doing, and you can't sense it when you're near them either. So we ask them to inform, even though they don't want to. It is a way for them, once they learn that is the way to be, then people get out of their way. But otherwise, people try to stop them because they suspect they're going to do something, but they don't know what it is. So it helps. You know, I want manifestors to be themselves. Then they break through to new territory. Then they find things that only they can find. Wonderful to see. It's wonderful to see people operating as making decisions according to themselves. It changes everything, transforms the life.
I think I have a manifestor dog.
Oh, okay.
which I mean, he's just everything you described there. I mean, he just does his own thing the whole time, and then you're kind of like, where, you know, you turn around and he's just disappeared, and you finally find him and it's like, where are you? And he looks at you and you say, what?
Well, if you've got his date, time and place, I can make a chart for him. Do you have those details?
No, I don't. He's a rescue dog, unfortunately.
I might be able to, if I hear him bark, I can tell part of it from the bark, and if I watch him, I might be able to suss it.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, maybe we'll link up on Zoom and we'll see what you can sort out, because I mean, I have had to dig very, very deep into my patients. He's not trying to be naughty at any level. There's none of that in him at all. He just doesn't get.
Well, all mammals have this openness to they don't have a self-reflective consciousness, but they have an openness to it. So it does give humans the ability to train them. Might think that they're untrainable, but you know, food and dog. Oh yes.
Yeah, he's I mean, he's a rescue dog that came from Romania, and he's a Tibetan Spaniel, which is a breed I wasn't aware of till he came, and they are known for being almost untrainable.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Very old breed, but yeah. Anyway, enough of dogs. I could talk about them for ages, but human design, yeah. Now, one of the areas that I find quite fascinating in human design is, I mean, you talk about health, and you talk about environment, and things like that. I mean, one of the things that was said to me was, I think you bought Ra over at one time, didn't you? And I went to one of his workshops, and he looked at my chart, and it was a cold November, and he said to me, what are you doing here? And it's like, yeah, what am I doing in this country? Because he said everything about you needs to be warm. And it was kind of like, again, it was one of those, oh, thank God, because I've always been cold and always been told off for being cold, like I was making it up.
Yeah, well, you know, there's an environment for everyone, and once you're in your environment, once you're working in your environment or living in your environment, I mean, I'm in my right environment now, as an example, and it's a very I can't tell you the response I got to buying this house and actually living here. I mean, I'm just so much more relaxed, so much more able to operate because of where I am.
Yeah.
the kind of place I'm in. The right environment changes everything. There's also the way we eat also makes a difference, and we're all in that. So, for example, I think science is, I mean, I love this, you know, we know lots of things. In human design, we can do all kinds of things in it. We can look into the future, we can look into the past, we can, you know, we know the patterns of where everything's leading. It's so much fun. But one of the things that you can see is there are some people that are nocturnals, for example, who are designed to eat after the sun goes down. And there's all this homogenized wisdom about, you know, 8 hours sleep a day and eat a full breakfast and all the rest of it. You know, it doesn't apply. We're all different. You know, we're differentiated, and there is no. I spent 20 years in this, and I've had a lot of fun, and I'm going to have a lot of fun for the next 20 years because this is all I want to do. But the point is, you can know, and once you know and you try it, the life just works better.
Yeah. And it's you saying that, it's one of the things I've noticed with clients, that, you know, one size does not fit all, full stop. Doesn't matter whether you're talking about food, diet, supplement regimes, ways of being, whatever. I mean, if I could get a template and say to people, follow this and you'll be well, great. But
then we'd all be the same. You know, it's just like we're here to expand conduit consciousness, and uniqueness is part of that.
And I think that's what human design celebrates, absolutely, at every level.
Yes.
Yeah.
At every level, and it means that you can appreciate the people around you too, because you know who they are. You know, you know who they are, and if they're in human design, they know who you are. There's a lot of you know, blaming and complaining that happens in relationships because people, you know, the partners want the other one to be more like them, and I mean, you know, all the genes want is to bring opposites or differences together. That's what we find attractive. But when people are together, then they want to make the other one more like this and less like this.
And it becomes
and you know, it's never going to work. You know, if people knew who the partners were, then it would be, and they knew who they were. So this is for me, and when it comes to the core of the I mean, the Grail myth, it would be to find out who you are. You know, there is a truth that can be found. You have to go in to find. You know, we've got a pattern now we can show you, but the experience of that, the experience of that, anyone that's been in human design for any length of time has this, is more relaxed. Letting go of trying to be something they're not, someone they're not. It's the way to freedom, in my view.
And it is, I mean, it is that Grail essence. It is, you know, what we're all reaching for at some level, to be authentically who we are, and feel whole in it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And the benefits that come from that are limitless.
I
mean, there's, for example, there's aspects in us that are highly creative, you know, and if you knew what they were and how to, you know, recognize that and give energy to it, and the things that you can, there's so much help that comes from knowing who you are. That's it, really.
So people can start with, I mean, there's the downloadable report off your website, which has a lot of detail in.
A lot of detail. And
my guess would be, having had some readings with you, the next step is a reading with you, because it would be so much richer.
Well, if they're up for it, my sessions now, I mean, can you imagine, after 20 years, it's like, so if they're courageous and if they're open to the truth, I will only tell them the truth.
And that's the key to it. It was one of the things that struck me so strongly all those years ago, was how you honed in on who I was, and as you say, you know, there is an element of courage that's needed in that, because you can feel very exposed in a society where it's all about wearing masks and facades and faces and things like that. For somebody to cut through that and to see who you really are can feel very exposing. but
Well,
actually, as I said to you, hugely liberating as well.
I only do empowering readings. My whole effort is that by the time the session is over, the person is empowered to go out and live themselves according to their strategy and inner authority. That's the thing. And the more deep truth that can be spoken and recognized inside, it's almost like the client themselves are, there's a click that goes on. There's a click that, wow, yes.
Yeah.
It's an enlivening process, and about 2 hours, but life is never the same after.
It takes a time, doesn't it, to work through the layers?
Yes, it does. There's a deconditioning process that you can watch. So as an example, who have we got here? Donald Trump again. As an example, Donald has an open root center. Oh, you can't see it. Sorry, I haven't shared the screen.
Yeah.
But the center right at the bottom is this white, where if you've got a white square there, there's a tendency always to kind of hurry through life.
Yeah.
And be too fast. And as an example, a practical example, most people with this white in their chart, like to have bare feet. They don't like to have shoes on. First chance they get, the sun comes out and they're out there on the grass jumping about, or love to go to the sand and take the shoes off and walk on that. They don't want to be restricted, and they can hurry too much. So it's something they can watch in their life when they're hurrying, and to begin to see that if they give themselves more time, instead of chasing the adrenaline rush, if they give themselves more time, they live life in a much more restful way, and they can be more themselves.
Yes.
Not designed to be under pressure. Things like that can make a big difference, and people can notice it in their life. And
gradually, bit by bit.
Yeah,
it's. I mean, you said to me all those years ago, it takes about at least 7 years to decondition.
There is, yes. There's first of all, you can get it on intellectual level. The more you experiment, the more the life opens up. Around 3.5 years, because it's a replacement of cells in the body. So if you're operating correctly, according to who you are, then more cells are being made, and at the end of 7 years, nearly all the cells have been replaced. Just a beautiful thing. After about 3.5 years, there's a kind of a crack. There's a kind of a turning point as well.
Yeah.
But still, what else are you going to do? You're going to live.
This is what you came here for.
You're here to live.
Yeah, and you can, I liken it to this. This is a guiding light. You're giving me a map, and you're shining the light on it, and I can pick this up and I can work with it, and even though it takes time, or I can just keep groping around in the dark. And I'd done nearly 50 years of groping around in the dark before I met you. And I wasn't doing over well on that. As a strategy, it wasn't working particularly well.
Well, it's natural for us to look around and see what's out there. I mean, 20 years running Kindred Spirit magazine, I saw so many different things, but it's only human design that I stay with, because it's endless knowledge, and it works. Basically, it works, and it's fun because there's this relief that comes with it, and this opening up, and people finding abilities they never dared. I mean, most people are held in fear of one sort or another through the upbringing, and there's all kinds of creative sides of us that we may not bring out because we don't really trust it. We're very uncertain about it, and then once you're showing it, and then they let that come out. Hey.
Yeah, great things happen.
Great things happen, and the life changes. It's a transformative tool.
It is, yeah.
What should I say? It's like the sword to cut through it all. And you've got a sword behind you there.
Yes.
It's a good sword.
Wonderful. Now, I mean, obviously there's the basic human design reading that somebody can have, but you do other types of reading as well, don't you?
Yes, I do. There are the main cycles, as in astrology. So I'll do a Saturn return reading for those who are just they're around their late 20s, early 30s. There is the Uranus opposition, the kind of the time when we're around 42, time when Rudolf Steiner talked about us being, don't really know who we are until that time. I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far with human design, because you can know, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, very early on, which is what we want.
Yeah.
But it is at 42, it's the end of childhood. So it's no longer looking back and thinking, you know, comparing yourself with what your parents have done and what your siblings, what others have done. It's about, look, this is my life. You know, it's moving towards the Chiron return, which is around 50. And at that point, there is this potential of entering into a new life and flowering as yourself in there, and becoming more of a mentor, more of giving back, more of letting who you are come out, and you know, enjoying that, and hopefully be affecting the people around you. But the main thing is that it's your authenticity coming out of Chiron, and it's that's the healing part of it. You know,
Yeah.
the wounded healing. It's like there's a healing that happens when you're at that age. For some people, depending on their design, as in your case, it's a major life change time. Especially Saturn and Chiron.
It was quite. I mean, that was around the point. It was about, I think I was 48, 49. And little did I know it, but it was really quite a perfect time, wasn't it?
Perfect time, just before the Chiron to get a reading, so you understand where you're going. There's another cross we're not getting into that. Well, just to say, we're born on an incarnation cross. We incarnate, we come into the meat on a particular trajectory. For example, your right angle cross of tension, designed to, bring that energy that will break apart stagnancy. I'm the cross of laws, so I'm here to, I could have been a teacher or whatever at one point in my life. In the magazine, I was, for example, putting out the laws of holistic living, basically.
Yes, yeah.
And strange enough, I met Human Design at my Uranus opposition, which prepared me for my Chiron. And my Chiron is the right angle cross of explanation. So here I am explaining the laws of my life. The cross takes over the life. So people can, there's the cycles, there's the partnership readings, there's a life path analysis, which is again an in-depth thing focusing on particular path someone leads. They're all there. If you go to the website, you can see the different readings. There are lots of videos too. Lots of free previews. So I've tried to make it accessible. There are lots of audios of deep teaching from the founder as well. I've got the Human Design library there. And more films are going to be coming. A lot of films and some teaching films are coming. So I'll be building that up this year. And of course, live courses when I do them. So
wonderful. So just go to your website and basically get on your mailing list to keep in touch.
Yes, if anyone who puts their email on the homepage, I will send them the newsletters, and they can know what's coming. And
if they're the parent of children, I can't recommend it highly enough, actually, because to give your gift, the child, of being who they are, is probably the most wonderful thing a parent can do for their child.
Everything becomes clearer, and the child benefits, which means their friends will benefit, which means as they grow up, their children will benefit. And really, this knowledge is really for the children. It's for the future. This is a transitory point we're coming to. It's really quite a very interesting time to be alive. Big things are coming, big changes are coming, and so if this knowledge can be known even at a simple level in the future, it will help the human race survive, and it will help the human race flourish.
Yeah, and this is a theme that's going to come out again and again from the various speakers, is that we are at a very seminal moment in the evolution of the human race. And it's, you know, we can do it badly or we can do it well, and let's please everybody, let's choose to do it well, and all of the wisdom keepers, the people like you, have the tools to help us through it.
I'm interested to hear what they have to say about the future.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be interesting.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you so much for bringing all this together, Sarah.
I have to say, Richard, it has been huge fun. I have, and you'll meet them in the coming days ahead. Wonderful speakers, amazing people like yourself doing incredible work in the world. So it's been a huge gift to me. And yeah, I just thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to do this.
Well, you're the network. You're the one that brings us all together, aren't you?
Yeah. and it seems it's in my chart. So I'm just doing what I was meant to do at long last.
And the key for you and your design is about authenticity. Networking in authenticity is exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you. I mean, we could keep talking, but you know, I know you've got a life as well. So yeah, I mean, thank you so much, Richard. I really, really appreciate the time you've given to this and the help. And yeah, I'll put your contact details at the end of this.
Okay.
And so people can get in touch with you. Thank
you.
So yeah, thank you everyone for listening to the first in the series. There's more coming up, lots more coming up, I promise you. And I'll see you all again tomorrow with our next guest. Thank you and good night.